Konnichiwa viewers, I am Matt Finish, and today we are going to Japan. That's why I started the video like that. I don't do that in every video. Japan has just released a new dating show, and it has to be the cutest thing I have ever seen. Plus it's gay, which you know I am all here for. The Boyfriend is a new dating show coming out of Japan that has 9 queer men living together in one house and working together in a coffee truck, all while they are looking to find love and friendship. I'm typically not the biggest fan of dating shows like The Bachelor or Love Island, although I will have to say I have a special place in my heart for Bergie. Bergie. Queer dating shows have always been the white whale in reality TV. The joke being, wouldn't all these queer men just end up hooking up together in something that would be akin to a poor man's Fire Island? And in America, yes, they would.
Sexy, fun, ready to show you a good time. They're himbos.
But Japan is different. I'm not gonna comment too much on the state of being queer in Japan, because I'm a foreigner and I've been there all of one time. But it seems to me from the outside that being gay in Japan is a lot like it was for me growing up 2 decades ago. It's technically okay to be gay, but you can't get married. You're not gonna get beat up in the street, but you probably won't tell someone unless you know them very well. Also, don't mention it to your job for some reason. I think that is the secret sauce of this show. All of these men, just by being here, are taking a risk. Admittedly, some of them more than others. But they're showing up in front of the world and indiscriminately being themselves. And I think that's really important and something that should be celebrated. Enough preamble, let's meet the boys! Our first boy is Dai. Dai is the youngest of the cast, and my first impression is he seems like a little bit of a party boy, not a full-on circuit queen though. Does Japan have circuit parties? Does anyone know? I don't. But in general, a young guy who's looking for fun. He's 22 years old and is a student at the university. Dai is interesting. He opens by saying that he's had a lot of heartbreak in love, but he's 22. My general impression is that he's a young guy. He needs to live his life and kind of figure out who he is, but what 22-year-old doesn't is kind of my thought. Next up is Taehan. Taehan is a 34-year-old designer. Taehan seems really nice, but hasn't gotten a whole lot of screen time. I do love that we are getting people in their 30s, though. Enter Ryota. Ryota is a 28-year-old model slash barista, and despite being pretty for a living, seems to be kind of awkward and maybe a little insecure. I really like Ryota, but I don't necessarily like all of Ryota's choices, which we will talk about later. Also, he's bisexual, which I think is neat. Next up is Gensei, a 34-year-old hair and makeup artist. Gensei is super sweet and seems to be genuinely looking for love. He is 100% insecure though, and he is worried that no one will be attracted to him. Gensei is so sweet, and I will fight anyone who hurts him. I'm looking at you, Ryota. Then we get Shun, a 23-year-old musician who is immediately looking for someone to marry. I have a lot of thoughts on Shun, but we will get to them later because that could be its own video. Those are the boys we meet at first, and then we are introduced to what for a Western audience will probably be the most jarring part of this show, the panel of hosts. I know from clips that this is a thing that happens on Japanese game shows, but I thought that was when there is something shocking or embarrassing happening. I'll be honest, having a panel of hosts that we flip back and forward to feels a little bit jarring, I guess is the right word. Also, we're never really introduced to them and told why they are on this show. I assumed it was because they're famous, but at one point, one of the hosts is revealed to be a drag queen and no one else knew who she was. So I guess they're not famous. I'm gonna chalk it up to a cultural thing, because that feels right. It is nice when they comment on things that relate to Japanese culture. It provides a nice context that, as a Westerner, I just don't have. So Good job, the boyfriend. After we meet the boys, they are sitting around a whiteboard trying to figure out a name for their coffee truck. They have to work in the coffee truck to make money to pay for their living expenses because they basically get a small allowance. And that is when we meet our next boy. And that is something I love about this show. Every time you think we have all our boys, this show says no, one more boy. I'm Oprah. Kazuto, 27-year-old manager of an izakaya. He brings a whole fucking fish to the house and says, hey, I'm gonna make some sashimi. And panties drop, except they don't.
後ろの3人よくこのカツオさばいてんの見ずにいられるな。
No one seems to care, and I do not understand. This man is a catch.
Dad jokes.
Kazuto also happens to be my husband's favorite. That's fine. I'm not threatened. The night then ends with the boys getting a message on their communal iPad that says they each have to send one message to one boy and they can't put their name on it. These boys are so sweet and gentle, and it's amazing. Some boys get messages, some boys don't. Dai gets 2 because he's hot, I guess. I don't get it. This king brought a whole fucking fish in, but yeah, 22-year-old's great. The next morning, the boys settle on a name for their coffee truck, Beautiful You. And then some professional baristas come in and teach them how to make coffee. The literal barista never once says he knows how to do this. And this is one of those times you're so aware this show isn't American. And I know that's kind of obvious. Like, obviously it's not American. But if these were American gays, that barista would be showing off everything he knows to seem like the hottest shit there. And that doesn't happen. Tonally, this show is just so different. And it's not that they don't have personalities. They absolutely do. They just all allow each other to have space to exist in a non-competitive way. And it's just tonally so refreshing. There's this cute exchange where Dai wants to stand next to Shun, but like, he thinks he's being really obvious and he's not. Which I get. I have been this person before of like, ooh, I'm flirting so hard, and actually I just looked at them twice. So Dai has to go meet some friends, and we find out it's his birthday. Another thing, an American would have been talking about how it's their birthday for the last 16 hours. It's their fucking birthday weekend, bitch. No, Dai doesn't even tell the boys. Dai goes off to meet his girlfriends, which is another moment that I feel like we are living in the late 2000s when you couldn't show 2 gay men on screen together, so you just plop a gay down in a room full of women.
Didn't even go here.
That's what this feels like. While he's here, Dai tells his friends that he is interested in Shun, and he's pretty sure that Shun is interested in him. And then we get a cut of Shun saying he's not interested in any of these men.
タイプの人みたいなのも
I need to talk about Shun for a second. We get a cut of Shun talking to Ryota about he's looking for a man that will make him feel more secure. Which is totally relatable. I was that 21-year-old who is looking for a man to make me feel like I found my place in the world. But it does come across a little melodramatic. Like his world revolves around him because it does. He's 22. It's not a bad thing. It's just something to keep an eye out for as we start talking about Shun in later episodes. The boys go to the beach and everyone says that Dai is super muscled and ripped, completely ignoring Taehan. Hashtag justice for Taehan. We get typical beach shots and the hosts talk about how fit all the boys are. Let's be real, this was just here so we could see them with their shirts off. I'm not mad about it. After the beach, the boys go home and get a message on their iPad saying that they're going out to meet their new housemate. One more boy! The boys go to the club. The boys are sitting around a table playing a dumb game. Really just Dai is playing the dumb game, where the loser has to tell someone who they have a crush on. Dai loses and tells Shun. Shun is his crush. Good move, Dai. Suddenly, a bunch of go-go boys get onto the stage and start dancing, and everyone knows that their new housemate is gonna be one of those boys. The hosts know it, the boys know it, and I knew it. And there was one brief moment where we got a big, thick boy for like one frame, and I was like, ooh, give me that thick boy. I just wanted the thighs of that man from Physical 100 Season 1. Those thighs could kill a man. Sexually. But there was also this really skinny twink who was dancing really hard in the front, and I was like, please, for the love of God, do not give me another 22-year-old with emotional issues. I can't take it. Then Dai starts loudly talking to Shun about his favorite dancer. Bad move, Dai! The boys go to the champagne room to meet their new housemate, and it's revealed that it is Usak. Usak, who is apparently one of the most famous go-go boys in Japan. I'm here for it. The next day, Usak arrives at the house and immediately reveals that the only thing he eats is boiled chicken turned into a smoothie. Gross. The boys get a message on their iPad that Ryota needs to pick the person who's going to go work with him in the coffee cart that day. The coffee cart, we find out, functions as their sort of one-on-one dates. It's the only time they really get time to just be alone, and they are alone for hours on end. Ryota chooses Gensei. Apparently there has been some spark there, and the world cheered. They are perfect for each other. Gensei, established in his career, but so shy, so awkward. And Ryota, the young, up-and-coming model who's just a little bit more outgoing than Gensei. They work together perfectly. They banter. They flirt. Everyone thinks this is going well, and then the producers give us the most savage cut in television history.
今は大君に書きました。はい。
Gutted. Everyone was gutted. We need to forget about Dai. Forget about Dai. Why do we care about the 22-year-old when we have hot daddy material all around us? The next day, Dai and Shun go and work together. It's fine. Dai likes Shun, Shun knows that Dai likes Shun, and Dai assumes that Shun likes Dai. It's fine. They flirt, they both act like 22-year-olds, no one is surprised. The hosts point out something interesting, though, that I also clocked. It seems like Shun is only interested in someone that he knows is interested in him. He doesn't want to go out on a limb, and I think this goes back to Shun is looking for someone to make him feel like he's enough. So Dai likes him, great. That's a safe option that's gonna make me feel pretty and secure. He's just in his 20s. He's in his early 20s. I get it. I relate to it. I just need everyone to stop talking about the two 20-year-olds. Cut to Usopp being the vulnerable hottie with the body in the sauna. And no one cares. This man is incredibly hot, and no one is giving him the time of day. After this shot, we genuinely don't see anyone having another conversation with him. Usopp, I'm sorry that they have disrespected you this way. I will come to Japan and take you on a date. My husband has given me approval. Ryota tells the camera how funny Shun is. I have my doubts. The boys have a very serious talk to Usopp about how his chicken consumption is destroying their budget. Only words that are sent to Usopp. The next day, Taehan needs to pick someone to go on to a coffee work date with, and he picks, surprise, surprise, Shun! It's fine. Taehan seems to be trying to flirt with Shun. Shun isn't really flirting with him. It doesn't really go anywhere. The day is over. The next day, Gensei picks Dai to be his work partner, and it's kind of nicely platonic. They talk about who they have crushes on and kind of just general life things. It's nice to see two of these boys just bond as friends. It's something the show talks about is they want to allow these men to make friendships and partnerships, and I think part of that comes from this sort of queer loneliness in Japan. I'm basing that off a few YouTube videos I've watched, so if that's completely out of this world, tell me in the comments. I'd appreciate it. But I live in New York, and it's hard for me to find friends, so I get it, and it's kind of nice seeing this show talk about it. Okay. Remember how I said we were going to have to talk about Dai and Shun later? Well, it's later. Dai is showing Shun some photos on his phone, and Shun accidentally opens up the whole album. I'm sorry, that is not accidental. If you are not over the age of 60, you know you don't open someone's album. Well, apparently, Dai found some photos there that were for a certain kind of app, and he is devastated, literally crying. Apparently, he had a bad boyfriend in the past who used the apps, and now he is just convinced that Dai is a bad type of boy. We cut to our hosts, who are all on Shun's side, saying he shouldn't be seeing these types of photos, and Dai is some terrible person. Except for the drag queen, because the drag queen says, all gay men have those apps, all gay men have those photos. Dai is fine. Shun is being melodramatic. Tell it like it is, sis. At the same time, Kazuto, who you might have forgotten is our super hot restaurant owner that is absolutely the best choice, chooses Ryota to go on his work date with him, basically saying, we need money, I can run a business, you can make coffee, let's kill this. And they do. And they seem to have a great time, no real romance is had, but business gets done. Because Kazuto gets shit done. The episode ends with a traumatized Shun looking at the board of who he gets to pick for work the next day, and we get a cliffhanger of him reaching for the names. Who will it be? Who is his new love option? And then the next episode we find out it's Dai, because of course it is, and we get a dramatic montage of all their ups and downs together, which happened over literally 5 days. These 20-year-olds need to be stopped. And then we get the most awkward work date ever. Shun refuses to talk to Dai, basically just ignoring him the whole time. Shun, you chose Dai. You chose to be there with him. If you didn't want to talk to him, don't invite him. It's passive aggressive, and I'm not here for it. After the workday, the two are sitting on this like cliff bench. It's very nice, and they're talking about their feelings and do they want to be together or not. And Shun says, if I kissed you, maybe I would know for sure. Good move, Shun. Good move. I see you. So then Dai tries to kiss him, and Shun says, no, I'm not ready. Definition of mixed signals. What are you doing? Even the hosts are confused. This is a wild play. One more boy! That's right, we get another boy. The second you think this show is zigging, it zags. You don't know what's next. In walks Alan, this half Brazilian, half Japanese pot stir that this show needed. Alan comes in like a damn wrecking ball, immediately telling everyone that he knows Dai previously. When two gay men from seemingly different social circles know each other, that can only mean one thing. Gay bowling league! No, they slept together, obviously. Alan comes in really hot, being social and bubbly in a way that, to me at least, feels very not Japanese. I think that's because he's half Brazilian and grew up with two cultures at once. Maybe this is a personality type that is present in Japan and I just don't see it in media. If that's the case, let me know down below because I love hearing from you. The boys have dinner and Alan talks over Dai at one point. That feels very superficial, but Dai gets upset and leaves. Shun follows, concerned for Dai. He goes inside, and Dai confesses to Shun about he really likes that Shun will just sit there and listen to him, while Alan insists that Dai needs to live more life and have more experiences. Which is true. Dai asks Shun to trauma dump on him, and Shun obliges. We find out that Shun didn't grow up with any parents and moved to Tokyo on his own when he was 18. Shun has clearly gone through some shit. I'm not saying he hasn't, and I will hold space for that. I still think he is acting like a 22-year-old. Not an insult, just an observation. Then Shun comforts Dai with his improv piano skills. This is just a theory. I don't think Shun's very good at the piano because he plays maybe 3 notes and then the producers come in with a backing track. It's just weird, okay? Both of these men are in their early 20s and they're acting like it. They are the center of their universe, which makes sense, but it makes their actions feel really melodramatic and not fake exactly, just disingenuous. They seem like nice guys who need to live more life, but them coming together kind of enables that worst side of both of them. Cut to Alan stirring the pot in the weirdest way possible.
You said earlier that people who were important to you passed away. Can you tell me who they were?
My dad and my grandpa.
I actually suspected it was your dad and your grandpa.
Hey, stranger I just met. Tell me about your dead grandpa. Alan is just pure chaos, and I'm so here for it. Shun and Dai come back outside after being away for a little bit, and no one seems to acknowledge they were gone, which I just think is exactly how you handle that person at a party. Oh, I need to go away to cry? Great, we're not acknowledging it, we're moving on. Then the boys get a message on their iPad that they have to pick one person that they want to go on a date with, and if that person also picks them, they get to go on a date. Shun and Dai match. Great. More importantly, Gensei does not pair with Ryota. And now he's wondering if Ryota was ever into him. Which is great. You know why, Gensei? Because maybe this cute little twink with a stash would pair great with the nation's top-ranked go-go boy. Or I don't know, the hot izakaya manager who will make you sashimi at any point. Or even the Korean boy designer with abs to kill for. Gensei, you have options. All I'm saying. These boys cannot see past the miasma of twink that is just wafting in front of them. I think I need to go to Japan and knock some sense into these boys because they can do better. Gensei, you can do better. God, the more I talk about the show, the more it sounds like a dating sim. I get why I like this. Shun and Dai go on a date to an aquarium, which honestly seems like a really meh date for two people who are terrible for each other, except for the part where they get to touch the cute otters. I want to touch a cute otter so bad. No, not that kind of otter. Go away. Go away. So they do their date, and the episode ends with Shun saying this.
見えたかもが冷めちゃったので
Shun, my apologies. I thought Alan was our Class A pot stirrer, but clearly that award goes to you, you absolute... You know, I'm gonna say it. You maniacal twink. That's the end of the first 3 episodes, but just wait, because we get a spoiler that next week, one more boy! I love this show. I think it's so cute. Please like and subscribe because it keeps me going. I need approval. Bye. Bye.